The Maidenform brassiere company impacted fashion with a simple idea and a brilliant ad campaign that ignited romance everywhere. Joining us is Hal Rubenstein to tell us more about how the lingerie company ended up in his latest book, The Looks of Love, 50 Moments in Fashion That Inspired Romance. Hal, welcome to Ultimate Report.
Oh, hi. Good to see you again.
It's great to have you join us, as always. So, Hal, what inspired the inclusion of this particular Maidenform campaign?
I mean, it may be one of the most famous ad campaigns, maybe the most famous fashion ad campaign of all time. I know it's about, but it lasted 3 decades. 3 decades of something that revolutionized, didn't revolutionize lingerie, it revolutionized women. It revolutionized how women saw themselves. It revolutionized women's fashion. It helped revolutionize, I think, women's place in modern society. You know, here's a company that was started in 1922, Enid Frocks. You know, Ida Bissett and Ina. I gotta check on their names. You gotta forgive me. Ida Rosenberg and Ina Bissett. They were a dress company during the time when flappers were all the rage, the Roaring '20s, for those boyish figures, straight line dresses. Except neither one of these women had a boyish figure, so they created like little pockets to go into the dresses, so that basically it would sort of hold women's breasts. Okay, I mean, that sounds unimaginable now. The thing is that not imagine a world without bras, but the thing is, they weren't there. Corsets are not bras, and hardly the same thing. Well, so a lot of women who were curvy found this so helpful, they started asking for the corsets by themselves. But they asked for the bras by themselves. And his husband was actually a sculptor. So he basically helped create the first bra, which he created out of a fabric called swami that was kind of a nylon tricot that fit against the body, that he did in concentric circles that would kind of almost like, not to steal the plate, the playtex comment, but would sort of like lift and separate, actually like fit around the woman's breast, basically to fit her, quote, maiden form.
Right.
So the Maidenform bra company was born to create the brassiere company to create it, and they did very well before the war. But during the war, they shut down, like many other companies did, to use their fabrics and to work for the war effort. But they decided to basically start up again after the war. But after the war, the world was a different place in so many ways. Number one, women worked during the war. They didn't stay at home and they didn't tend to the kids. Why? Their husbands were away. Somebody had to work in factories. Women had found and discovered a newfound independence, a newfound reality that, number one, they could be breadwinners. 2, they could go out and carve careers on their own. Soldiers, on the other hand, men at war, if you remember, they sort of existed in their sort of male-dominated world with something called pinup girls. Mm-hmm. Betty Grable, Anne Sheridan, Rita Hayworth, that very sort of sexy shot of a woman in a 2-piece bathing suit, or basically would look like a bra and panties pinned up to their locker. So it was a very different concept of sexuality when they came home, because that's what they pined for, and you couldn't basically hold them accountable. That they were risking their lives. Well, you can't turn back the clock, okay? And seeing this, understanding women's independence, understanding man's difference in terms of their women as sexualities, not the Little Women. So the Maidenform company says, okay, what do we come up with that can basically combine these two things to show a woman's independence and sort of show her out in this real world being a little bit tougher, sexier? And what they came up with, and this shows you how nothing that happens in our culture exists in a vacuum. What did they turn to? They turned to Broadway, which seems like the most unlikely place for an inspiration. But during the 40s, Rodgers and Hammerstein created basically revolutionary musicals like Oklahoma and Carousel. Well, all of that integrated story to plot and basically became very popular. Each one of these musicals had something called a dream ballet, where they imagined the romance in a perfect world, where they imagined somebody doing something amazing in their dreams, that the man and the woman, their dreams. Going to their particular ad company, the Maidenform people came up with, and honestly, the first one was just going shopping in my Maidenform bra. But here was a photograph of a woman out in public wearing only a bra and a full skirt. But she felt strong, and she felt independent, and she felt powerful, and she loved her body. And yes, church groups were horrified, but women went shopping. And this started something where all of a sudden the dreams became more elaborate. I dreamed I was at the rodeo. I dreamed I barged down the Nile. I dreamed I won the fight. I dreamed I ran for office. I dreamed I owned the company. I dreamed I was Cleopatra. All the time I was a social butterfly. I did a knockout all the time in my Maidenform bra. Of course, they were all fantasies. They weren't real. No one's doing these in a bra. But the photographs from Richard Avedon did these. I dreamed I was an outlaw. It was a Richard Avedon photograph. But these dreams so captured the public's imagination, and especially women's imagination, as to what they could do, that by 1960, 1 and 3 of women in America were wearing a Maidenform bra.
Wow.
I mean, later on in the 60s, because it became more advocated towards less about the sort of the Cleopatra, the fantasy moment, it became something, I dreamed I was successful. I dreamed I was going to do good deeds. I dreamed I was getting a college education in my Maidenform bra. It kind of changed to be less kind of fanciful, but nevertheless, the idea that a company selling underwear basically told women, you're something special. Mm-hmm. You're something special. And wearing this bra would help make you feel confident and special. And it just shows you, we latch onto anything, whether it's a high heel, a beauty product, a hair ornament, anything that will make you feel better about yourself to go forward.
That's absolutely amazing.
Yep, it is pretty cool.
So, Hal, where can we purchase our copy of The Looks of Love, 50 Moments in Fashion That Inspired Romance?
You can, after you finish watching, you could type right in Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com, easy as can be. Home Shopping Network, HSN.com. I think by 2 weeks, Rue La La, those of you who shop on that, will be able to find the book there as well. Or you can go to your local bookstore, and if it's not already on the shelf, you can ask your local bookseller to get it for you.
Wonderful. And where can we catch up with Hal Rubenstein online?
Oh my gosh, so many different places. Look for me on Facebook. I'm always posting on Facebook, both on my personal site and on my fan page site. I am also on Gabriel, New York, blogging and doing the Ultimate Report with you once a month. I am on Architectural Digest. I'm on AD.com. I will soon be on HalRubenstein.com. We're in the process of doing that. Look, in a couple of days, actually. It should be there shortly. And Instagram at Hal Rubenstein, and Twitter at Hal2R.
Wonderful. All right. Well, Hal, thanks so much for joining us. It's always great to have you join us.
You bet.
All right. Catch up with me on my blog, www.beautybeautereport.com, on Twitter at Beauty Publicist, and of course on YouTube, Ultimate Report. Everyone, thanks so much for joining us on Ultimate Report. Have a beautiful and successful week. Mwah.